Hello, friends, and welcome back to Scaling Stories. So, this might sound different because I'm kind of sick right now, but I'm going to try and record the entire audio myself now. Some people already knew this, but I have a slight speech impediment because I have some partial nerve damage in my jaw, and I previously used text to speech to assist me in making my videos. I'm going to stop using any assistance now and completely read everything myself, and maybe that helps me fight against the inauthentic content flag. This is going to be a work in progress, and I promise I'll try my best to improve it as fast as I can. Also, I'm currently only in Spotify's creator program, so watching on there would help me out a ton. Thank you so much for your support. Today's story comes from the entitled Parents subreddit. It was posted by Brins89 on April 17th, 2025, and was titled, "My family disowned me 15 years ago. Complete no contact. Now, all at once, they want back into my life and are stalking me. I finally confronted them." Disclaimer: part of this is from a post on AITA that was removed, then added to the events of today. I don't know if this goes here. I just needed to get it out. I confronted them today, and I can't stop crying or shaking. I don't know why. I don't know what's wrong with me right now. I'm finally calming down a little to get this done. So, I, 36 male, got into some trouble 15 years ago. I take all the responsibility for this, and even to this day, I carry all the shame, guilt, and embarrassment for it. Also, this might come up. This is not cultural or religion. It's just shame to the family name. The situation: when I was 19, my ID was stolen and being used in another state and created a situation where my driver's license was suspended nationwide. Somehow, any and all notifications from the other state never made it to me. I started doing all the necessary things I needed to do to try and fix the problem. I, however, had a couple of tickets in my current state that I needed to pay but couldn't because I needed to pay my rent and keep my apartment. Also, at the time, my full-time job was having problems and was borderline shutting down, so I try and make ends meet. I was doing a lot of freelance work as well. Again, my fault. I knew the company was in trouble, but I was still holding out hope that things would get better. I was holding out that a couple more freelance jobs and I would be able to finally pay the tickets. This was never the case, and the long story short of it, I was arrested and spent 2 weeks in jail. Not ideal, but I guess, in the long run, it worked out for the best by clearing the tickets in my home state. However, my family felt otherwise, and I was completely disowned because of this. I lost everything and everyone. The only reason I still had my apartment was because I had enough to cover the rent, and the freelance work kept up. It took another 6 months, but I was finally able to get the other state to release my driver's license. I decided that, since my family hated me, I didn't need them. So a year later, I changed my last name, phone number, and email. My social media is locked down so tight you would think I was hiding national security secrets. I was able to finish college and get settled into my career, and at this point, I'm happier than I have ever been. Enter current time. And 2 weeks ago, there was a knock on my door, and it was my mom and dad. Again, it had been 15 years, and I hadn't spoken to them, not one word. The only thing I could get out of my mouth was, "How did you find me? And what are you doing here?" My mom's response was, $5,000 to a private investigator. Finally, a search of Facebook with just your first name found you, and the private investigator confirmed it was you. I responded, "You didn't answer my second question. What are you doing here?" My mom again, "It's been 15 years. Looking at where you are, it seems you have learned your lesson and you are succeeding. You've missed out on a lot of things." I ended with, "Yes, I have learned my lesson. One of them is, don't think anyone will ever help you or be understanding, even your family. And yes, I did succeed, and I did it entirely without you. Please leave and don't ever come back." I shut the door in their face, locked it, checked the back door, and closed all the curtains. I'm guessing they hung around for another 15 minutes, knocking, demanding to be let in. I went back to bed, turned the fan on high, and went back to sleep. I did some research, and I have missed out on a lot. I have nieces and nephews, brothers and sisters-in-law, but the truth is, I don't know any of them, and I don't think I need to. I live a very quiet life. I can count on two hands how many friends I actually have. A friend said I may have taken it too far, that I should have given them a chance, and if I didn't like what they had to say, then I could have told them to go away. I was hoping that this was going to be the end of it, but no, they have taken to stalking me. I'll be completely honest, they are harmless, but just a real pain in the ass. And also, I've been effing with them and having some fun with the help of a friend. He now calls them fleas and will check on me, asking if I have fleas or not. It's kind of funny. If I say yes, then it's game on. The first night, he came over, and we walked downtown to a really expensive restaurant that I knew they were never going to go to. Another night, we went to a porn store. That was the best one. This past week, the way my days off fell, I had a 5-day stretch, so I decided to go to the city for a few days. I'm walking distance to the Amtrak station, and they followed me. I kept my AirPods in the whole time, and I know they were trying to talk to me, but I ignored them the entire time. People on the platform were even telling me that they were talking to me, and I said that I know, but I don't want to deal with them. The train came, and I got on and left them to watch. I loved it. It got to the point I finally had to acknowledge them. They weren't going to go away, so we met at the park across from my apartment. I didn't hold anything back. I told them this was the one and only time I was going to talk to them. I took a page from the Matlock series and told them I was their judge. I was their jury. Thank you, Olympia Lawrence. I then told them that, as far as I was concerned, they were guilty of anything and everything, and all I was doing was hearing what they had to say before I walked away from them. I asked them, why now, after 15 years, they are demanding to be let back into my life, and why they made the decisions they did to disown me. They told me that I ruined the family name and that the shame I brought to the family was horrible, and that this was the only way to make it right, was to get rid of me. They said that, recently, my name has been coming up in conversation and that the family has grown with a lot of new people. That brother and sister-in-law are asking questions about who is Brinley. That I have a niece who they think I would love and get along with, and the same for a nephew who was born last year, and now should be the time to fix things. They said that, looking at my apartment and the life I had, that I must have learned my lesson about being a better person and managing my life better. I finally cut them off and told them that I couldn't stand to hear any more. I was at the point I could hear my heart beating in my ears. I told them that I did everything completely by myself. Nobody from that life exists anymore, not one person. That they just need to tell everyone the truth, that I was in jail for 2 weeks, and because of this, the decision was made to get rid of me. I told them that I did it all on my own and that my one cousin, Jean, who is a cousin by marriage, was the one who was there for me, hence why I took her last name. I told them that, to this day, I'm doing everything on my own and rely on nobody, and don't need or want them in any way of my life. They made their decisions, and I'm making mine. I told them this will be the last time we talk, and that I would be going to see a lawyer to see if there's anything that could be done to keep them away from me. And that, if they continue to follow me around or show up at my apartment, I would have them arrested for trespassing. And I went back home and again locked everything down, pulled the curtains, and have been crying since. ScalingStories Corner. My corner? Nah, that is actually crazy. You don't get to toss your son away for 15 years to fend for himself, and then decide that he's good enough to be part of your life again just because he's self-sufficient. OP was right in wanting to have nothing to do with them. Also, his mom is actually so full of herself to show up on OP's doorstep out of the blue. She was like, yeah, I hired a private investigator and snooped through your Facebook. You were so freaking easy to find. I could have found you at any point in these last 15 years if I really cared. But nah. Oh, but now that you have a solid career and home without us, yeah, I'll let you be part of the family again. Like, excuse me? Who the hell are you to show up to your son's doorstep like that after treating him like garbage and expecting him to be grateful for your presence? I think that's narcissism. I'm not sure. But I'm glad OP didn't give them another chance. Maybe if his family was remorseful at what they did and really wanted to rebuild a connection with OP, I could maybe see a possibility that OP should entertain that. But with how they acted after finding him, he's better off without them, for sure. Now here are some of the top/relevant comments from the original post. Commenter 1 says, "Damn. Good for you for getting where you are despite your family. I cannot get over the fact that they disowned you over the license thing. My sister did some crap and was arrested and was in jail for a while. Not once did any of us think to not be there for her. My mom did everything she could to help my sister, and while we weren't happy with the path she chose, we stood by her. That was years ago, and she has turned her life around. I'm sorry they weren't there for you, but you should be damn proud of where you are now despite them." OP says, "I don't expect anything from anyone. I only had 2 people who stood by me until one of them said I was too much work and that she just didn't want to deal with me anymore. Enter my cousin, Jean, my hero. She's only related by marriage, but she was there every step of the way and never once, even to this day, said anything horrible. I'm just beyond grateful for her." Commenter 2 says, "You don't have to forgive them. You're welcome to forget them. It's all they deserve. Get a restraining order, violate them on it a couple of times, and go on with your life. Decide how you want to respond to any of these new people reaching out, but it's okay if you give them just a polite, no thanks, I'm good, and go on with your life." OP says, "I told them, don't ever show up on my doorstep or I'll throw them in jail and then they can experience what I did. They didn't like that too much, but I'm hoping that that was all it will take. I'm going to see a lawyer and see about having a cease and desist notice sent to them. Maybe getting a letter from a lawyer will slow them down." Commenter 3 says, "They're looking for a free babysitter and a retirement fund. Good for you. Stay no contact." OP says, "Kids scare me for some reason, so not interested in that. And the truth is, I don't think it's financial. They both had really good jobs. They should be set for retirement, but I could be wrong. But they have 2 other kids who can take care of their retirement if that's the case." Update 1 week later. Many of you have been asking for an update. First and foremost, thank you all for your responses. I was overwhelmed. I read every single one. I just couldn't keep up to respond to them. I also worked some extra shifts and had some really nice overtime, which, right now, comes in handy. Please just know I was not ignoring you. I just couldn't keep up. This isn't the update that many of you were most likely hoping for. I have not heard from my family since I confronted them. I'm hoping that it's all done and over, but at the same time, I'm thinking they are trying something else. I wanted to address some other things. Many are saying they are out for money or body parts, that they see I'm successful and such. I can't see this being the case. I truly don't think it's money. If they were able to drop $5,000 for a private investigator, then I can't see them hurting financially. My dad worked as an ORD for his entire career and made good money. My mom worked for a global corporation as a historical document manager. I didn't ask, but I'm thinking that they might even still be working. Others said maybe they need body parts. I can't see this being the case either, because all of these would have been mentioned the first or last time we talked. People have mentioned they see me as successful and want in on it and take the credit, saying that they are responsible for that in how they treated me. I'm successful in my own way. My education is in healthcare management, and I work as a unit secretary. I have been here for a while, and I truly love my job. I'm at the top of my pay scale, and that's okay. I have made a life for myself. Yes, I do have some money stashed away. I live below my means to do what I have done. I'm single, no kids, so it has allowed me to save money. And now on with the update. This is a long update because it's part of a conversation I had with my cousin. I have not heard from any of them since the last meet, where I confronted them. I'm hoping that they are just gone at this point. I truly don't want anything to do with any of them. I don't care that I have nieces or nephews or that I have new brothers and sisters-in-law. I would have to know my sister and brother and my parents to know all of these new people. And frankly, all of them are strangers. And it just brings up a lot of bad emotions. My cousin, Jean, is the only person who I have anything to do with, and she has been my rock. I can't begin to thank her enough for all she has done. She has been on vacation for a few weeks, so she doesn't know much of what happened. She got back and came over the other night. She showed up with wine, pizza, and cheesecake. God, I love that woman. I opened the door and was greeted with, "The wise woman has arrived and brought the makings of a great evening." I started crying to her response. However, it looks like I should have arrived a few days ago. She set everything on the counter and just hugged me to get me calmed down. Finally, as she opened the wine and fixed up dinner, I told her everything. At the end, she got a vindictive smile on her face and was like, "We needed to talk. It's time for some family secrets to be told." First, she started with telling me that, regardless of what others had said, what happened wasn't my fault. I was stuck in the perfect storm, which just blew up. She told me she saw my folder that had all of the work I had done to fix the problem, but it just didn't go fast enough. She reminded me that I didn't kill anyone, I didn't deal drugs, or anything like that. I was stuck in a situation that didn't get fixed fast enough. She went on to tell me that it was no surprise that, when I did the name change, I chose the one I did. Come to find out, it was the last name I was born under, which was my grandmother's, my mother's mother's, last maiden name, Jean. Don't let your parents fool you. They are not the pure pillars of community that they want you to believe. I have always known that their relationship was not the best, but when I was born, they were split up, and my mom was trying to hide me from my dad. My grandparents didn't like him, so it was decided to give me my grandmother's family name. She was getting more and more pissed off as she spoke. So, let's talk about names, since they are so hellbent on how you shame the family name. Your mother was the one who was born under the influential names. Her mother's family, the name you took, pretty much owned 2 of the local towns in our county. Your grandfather's name owned a few businesses in a different town. Your father's family was never heard of. They were from a different state and moved here for work purposes. Your dad has been writing off your mother's name and connections. Even to this day, your dad's family is pretty much a bunch of unknowns. On top of that, even if your grandparents were alive, they would have been completely behind you and wouldn't have bought into that whole BS of shaming the family name. The only time I ever saw her in a mood like this was when I was in college, and when she introduced herself to the class. She looked square at me and made it clear that she had no favorites. All of this has really made me look at my parents in a different way, and none of it's positive. It just reaffirms what I want even more, which is for them to just go away and to never come back. To the small few of you saying this is fake, fan fiction, and whatnot, go for it. Apparently, all of you live in perfect worlds with perfect families, and you most likely say the same thing to every post you read. I couldn't give 2 craps, a flying F, or a rat's ass what you think. I just need to get this out. ScalingStories Corner. Okay, well, I guess that update post wasn't any more updates on the situation with OP and his mom, and it more so provided context on the situation with his family. It didn't really make me think any differently about his parents, the way OP said it made him look at his parents in a different light. I still see them as the people who abandoned their son because he got a freaking traffic ticket. They're inhumane for being able to completely abandon their son over something like that. And I don't think I can really understand the mindset behind it, since that's got to be some type of mental illness. Now here are some of the top/relevant comments from the update post. Commenter 1 says, "Just checking my understanding here. The terrible thing you did to get disowned was not being able to pay a couple of tickets? And you only got the tickets because your license was suspended due to your ID being stolen, which you didn't even know about. Not because of anything you actually did? You never really did anything wrong, but got sent to jail and disowned anyway, and actually believed there was something you were guilty of? If you had a lawyer, I guess they could have fixed the entire issue with no jail time. WTF. I'm so glad you're blocking that toxic family and that Jean, at least, has your back." OP says, "Yes, that's pretty much all of it." Commenter 2 says, "In my opinion, They probably got shamed for disowning you for something so mild. Now they're trying to save face. That's why they kept using phrases centered around, "You cleaned up your act because we disowned you," when, in actuality, all they did was dump their kid while he was down. OP says, "From my understanding, my brother-in-law was asking some questions. When at once, my name was being tossed around, he asked who I was and where I was. Apparently, there's a tradition in his family where any and all siblings are supposed to be in the wedding party, and only our younger brother was. So now he is wondering where the older brother was and what happened. From my understanding, my whole situation was downplayed, and he was told that I was a screw-up and was kicked out of the family because I couldn't manage my life and embarrassed the family name. It still didn't settle well with him." Commenter 3 says, "So, I take it you don't have any plans to have contact with that brother-in-law out of fear your parents might catch wind of it?" OP says, "Sorry for the delay in getting back to you. I don't have any intentions of getting in contact with any of them, and this is why. My siblings are only 2 and 4 years younger than I am, so when everything happened, they were well aware of what was happening and why. They were old enough to speak up, even if against our parents, but they chose not to. They had a year to find me before I changed my name, phone, and email and locked my life down. Again, they chose not to. It's been 15 years, and I have not heard anything from them. The only reason this started was because, all at once, in past conversations that they have had, my name has come up. So, no, I'm not contacting any of them. I just don't see the need or desire to. We are all, at this point in our lives, strangers, and I just don't see it necessary to do anything about our lack of relationship." Okay, friends, so that concludes today's video. Leave a like and comment down below to let me know what you thought of it, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care!